All right, welcome back, everybody, for a new episode of Hidden Gems. This is the video series where I talk about those books that are still possibly tucked away in those back issue boxes. These aren't necessarily wall books or the super popular books or hot 10 books. You're not going to find these on any list. These are just some random things that may be worth a little bit more than that you might think that they are, or some books that might have some potential that could still be just tucked away in those boxes related to some fun topics that I like to cover each and every week. So hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Continue to tell your friends so we can keep growing this channel. We are getting closer and closer to 2K every day, and we're going to have a nice big giveaway once we hit that milestone mark sooner rather than later. Also, if you're interested, check out the memberships that we offer here on Rennavision for some extra fun little stuff. I mean, no pressure. Just check it out. See if you're interested. And I did get the first batch of t-shirts in for those first members that I want to reward everybody with. So those are coming in, but I'm waiting on a couple of the little things before I start sending those packages out. But that all said, make sure you check out tomorrow's show, Chasing Goats, when I announce the winner of last week's giveaway. On that show, we're going to be doing more giveaways here and there as we go through because I got tons of stuff that I can give away, and I think it's a lot of fun to do so and keep you guys engaged. And I don't know. Like I said, I think it's fun. So let me know, like I said, in the comments what you think. And if you want to see what books I want to talk about this week, because I do have a nice, fun selection for you, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, so first up, we are going to start off as we normally do with our quick artist retrospective. This is, a shorter version of the little show that I used to do where I'd spotlight an artist, go through some of their first works, their early works, their popular works, and then some things that you might be able to find out there. And the artist I want to talk about this week is Michael Cho. I don't think Michael Cho gets enough love. He's got a classic style. It gives me like a Darwin Cook kind of vibe, a little bit of Bruce Timm, very classic look, striking images, very, I don't want to say limited, but he doesn't use a lot of colors. A lot of these things could be like a 3-color, like black, white, and then a little bit of color here and there. Like just some of these covers just really pop, even with that limited palette that he might have available. And the one thing that I know him best from are these covers here. These are those 1 in 20s that he did for Marvel back in the day. This is one, Revision, number 4. Like I said, these are 1 in 20 incentives. He did it for like a whole run of titles, and they're all really good. All New Wolverine, number 5, Ms. Marvel, number 4, Spider-Gwen, number 5. Like I said, just very simple, like 3-color covers, and it's just like, they just pop. I don't know, something about it. Very classic looking, very iconic type images here. Like I said, it does remind me a lot of Darwin Cook, which, again, I dig. And then here's another batch of some more of the 1 in 20s that we got with the Mighty Thor, Doctor Strange, Daredevil. Just really, really good covers. Some of these can get expensive. Some of these are still very cheap, like under ratio. And some of these could be, like 70, 80 bucks or so. So it really depends on some of the covers. Some of the characters are more popular than others. Some might be a little bit harder to find than others, but that's not what we're here to talk about. That's just what I know him from initially. Like this is, from what I remember, what kind of caught my eye about Michael Cho was these covers here. But he got his start way back in like 2008 with his webcomic, Paper Cut, which was, like I said, it's a little webcomic, and you can see here, I do like is the ability of an artist to be able to tell stories and doing interior work, not just do covers. I think that is an underappreciated talent for most artists because everybody just buys covers these days. Not a lot of people can appreciate what's done inside the books as well. But this is a fun little thing to go check out if you can. This little web comic that he did 15 years ago almost now. Outside of that, I think one of the first interior works I remember seeing that he did was in Batman Black and White here in 2013. This is not his cover. Again, it's interior work. This is a Silvestri cover. Black and White's pretty cool. Pretty sketchy style, but he was the first story in that first issue of this volume. I think this is the second volume of the Batman Black and White. But as you can see here, there's that classic look. Again, very Darwin Cook, but I dig it a lot. Now, this is the book you can still find out there, and like I said, this is, I think, his first interior work. I think at least for DC, for Michael Cho. This book, again, it's like cover price type book. I mean, $8, $4.80 with 420 shipping. So it's like, like I said, it's basically cover plus shipping. That's really what the cost of this thing is. Available copies in that same category. Look, $3.95 for a single issue, or you can get a lot of like the whole run for like $18. So you can get it for like cover price and less. So this is just a pretty cheap book if you want to go grab like an artist first type thing. Just something to pay attention to, something to keep in mind. In like 2014, he did do his first graphic novel. So this was like full storyline in graphic novel, just done by Michael Cho, Shoplifter. So you can still see this one out there. And while you can find it at bookstores because it's graphic novels, you can find these things at like Amazon and Barnes and Noble, maybe some used bookstores, discount bookstores. Just a fun thing to go and hunt. But even online, while there have not been any copies sold of this graphic novel, there are copies available, and they can be anywhere from as cheap as $4 with free shipping to like $20. So, as I said, like a graphic novel, it's got like a $10 to $13 probably cover price on the back or MSRP. So, if you find it in a bookstore or something like that, printing aside, who knows what print you're going to get, but this is a hardcover graphic novel that you can go find out there, done all by Michael Cho, if you want to go and check it out. Now, he did a bunch of variants as well that I think are really cool, things to keep an eye out for. Now, they're not necessarily going to be books you're going to find for cheap, so I won't say these are hidden gems, but as I said, I like to cover these things so you guys are aware that they're out there. Like this Vader 25. This is a 1 in 50. Again, classic, iconic, 3 colors, black, white, red, just right there, right in your face. This book can sell, while none have sold recently, asking prices on this actually are, ratio and less. So yes, this is $50, $37, but considering it's a 1 in 50, that's not a terrible price for an incentive like this. But keep that in mind when you're out there shopping and hunting. This might be a little bit on the pricier side than what I normally cover. I'm normally shooting like that $20, $25 range as a max for some of these books, but I just want you to know as well, these things are out there in case you can find them for cheaper, or, if you just want it, you know what you got to pay to get it. Because sometimes you just want to hunt for your own collection. This is not all about investment. It's not all about speculation. This is also about appreciation of the hobby and of comics. At least that's what I like to focus on. Up next, I got another variant that he did. This one's only 1 in 25. This was for Gamora number 3. Everybody knows the Gamora 2, the Matina. I think a lot of people forget that there's a number 3, and this is a Michael Cho cover. This looks like one of those classic like movie posters from back in the day. Another style that he does very, very well, and we're going to get into a few more of these as we go through this quick little artist retrospective. Once again, book that's not selling a lot. No sales in the last 3 months. So these are things that just people aren't thinking about. It's not really on most people's radar. So maybe you can go find this tucked away in a box for for pennies on the dollar. Asking prices on this one are a little bit above that ratio though. With a raw copy asking about $40 or so, and then a 9.8 asking only $72. So $72 for free shipping for 9.8 is not that bad when you factor in that it's going to be at least $15 of it's going to be for the shipping part. So now you're talking about what, like $58? If you were to find this copy and get it graded, it's going to cost you at least $30, not maybe including shipping both ways to and fro. So then you're only paying like $20 for a 9.8 copy. I don't know. That's the weird way my mind works when I do the math. Like, what would it cost me if I bought a raw one, decided to submit it, whether I got it pressed or not? I usually don't pay for pressing, but if I did, that's extra cost, extra fee. Then you got to mail it off, insure it, pay the grading fees. Then you have to pay for the return, shipping back. And then if you're buying it from another buyer, then you got to pay. It's a lot of shipping and a lot of extra costs that go into this. So sometimes a price like this looks very attractive once you can cut all that stuff out. But some other variants he's done recently, I really like this run of Shang-Chi covers. These are all 1 in 50s. So these are all going to be a little bit on the tougher side to find, especially that number 3 there. I think that's when people started looking for these. It wasn't with number 1 because there's plenty of those. It was a highly printed book, so there's a lot of the 1 in 50s for number 1. And even number 2 didn't grab a lot of people, even though I dig that one too with the the roulette wheel and Captain America. But it was number 3. Once Wolverine hit that cover, a lot of people started looking at these, and these started getting a little bit pricier the weeks they were coming out. And like I said, all 1 in 50s. So I did manage to get issue 4 here in the middle. I got that somewhat recently. I like it a lot. Kind of a classic kung fu kind of pose. The Iron Man's not bad for number 5. And then that number 6 is a really tough one as well. Like print run got way down as far as incentive goes for a 1 in 50, and I like it Shang-Chi versus the Marvel Universe. So I'm looking out for that one, but that one's a little tough to find right now, especially at a decent price. But just more variants, just for you to be aware of, just to give you a sense of his art and the style. I like these a lot. One day hope to find all of them, but so far 1 out of 6 down. So we'll see for my own collection if I can get the rest. But it's not all about the expensive 1 in 50 incentives. It's not all about that. There's also cheaper books that you can get, like these. I believe these were B covers on the Inhumans versus X-Men, the IVX run. Again, you get that kind of classic, kind of postery kind of vibe. Like these are almost prints, like like wall prints that you can get. Really cool stuff. Storm there in the middle, Black Bolt, Medusa there on the side. 6-issue run. He did B covers for all of these, and these are all pretty affordable. Like these are like cover price thereabouts or less in a lot of cases, except for maybe one. Issue 5. This one has gotten a little extra. I mean, look, $13 is still not a lot of money, but one sold for $13 back in June, and the asking price is, however, a little bit more. Anywhere from $9 to $20 to $45. And that's just, I think, Ms. Marvel hype, because a lot of people still are, excited for Ms. Marvel, even though her first season is done. I still think she has a lot of traction on some of these books, and a variant like this is not simple to, it's not that easy to find, but it's not terribly impossible either. So I think that's why some books like this get a little popular too, because they're a little tough, and then people want to pay a little extra. It's a little off the beaten track. It's not a regular Ms. Marvel book. So, and it's a cool cover. Like I said, I do like it. This Michael Cho. So that's why I use it for the main thumbnail image for this episode. With that said, I keep mentioning the posters. I'm sure you guys remember the Civil War II posters that he did. All, what is it, 8 issues, I think, of this run. Awesome. I really dig these, especially that number 5, round 5 there with Nova and with Miles and Ms. Marvel. Really cool stuff here. And round 7, round 1, definitely covers that you could still find out there for a decent price. Here we got Cap and Black Panther. Look at these, 99 cents. These are selling for on even on eBay. So these are dollar books, even online. So you can probably find some of these tucked away in those dollar bins near you, and they're just classic covers. I just like this art. Yes, there's plenty of these printed. They're probably not going to be all that valuable, because there's a lot of them out there. But I don't know how many there are out there, because it is a variant. There's no breakdown of how many copies are this cover, or that cover. So who knows for certain? All I know is I like these, and I like these covers, and I like them for a nice cheap price, like $1. Asking prices, again, look, they're around cover price or less. Cover price in this is actually $4.99. So even these at $3.99, $3.99, $3. Those are undercover price. So keep that in mind as well. And a final little bit that we're going to do covering Michael Cho is going back to DC. He did have a 12-issue run on Batwoman, where he did those B covers on the DC Rebirth. I know I've been showing a lot of these Rebirths, but with these B covers, A and B covers, like there's a lot of cool arts and cool cover art runs, because DC did hire a lot of talented artists for a lot of these runs, from Jenny Frison on Wonder Woman to the Batgirl and the Birds of Prey we covered last week. There's just a lot of really good covers out there. Middleton on Aquaman for a stretch. And here we have Michael Cho doing Batwoman. All of these have fantastic black, white, and red covers. Yes, I know there's a little bit of the blue trade dress up there, so that negates it a little bit. I kind of wish that wasn't there, but it doesn't take away from it too much. These are still some really awesome cover images, classic looks. A little more white here as the run went on, as you can see there with that issue 10, 11, and 12. A lot more red there on that 11, but still really cool stuff. And these are things you can find in the dollar bin. Cover prices are less, but you can still find a lot of these books in the dollar bin. So check out Michael Cho if you didn't know a lot about Michael Cho. I like his art. Like I said, it's very Darwin Cook, very, Tim Sale, Bruce Timm. I know, well, people might say it's simple, but it's not simple. It's just very, it's just a classic look. It's just some classic, iconic images that just really catch your eye. It's undeniable. But with that said, that's the end of my little Michael Cho retrospective a bit there. So let's move on to the next segment. And the next segment I want to cover is later prints. We're going to skip over variants this week and just go right into some later prints, because there's a little bit of a run of second prints that I kind of want to look at, because I think these are worth your time if you can find them. And the run I'm talking about here is this Doctor Strange stretch. So issue 381 of Doctor Strange. This was right in that run with the first Bats, and you had Loki as the Sorcerer Supreme. So this has been a popular little bit of a run here, so keep an eye out for it. And the second prints are not that easy, and since they're not that easy, they can be a little bit more expensive. Like I said, this is 381. This is the second printing. You can see it down near the barcode down here where it says second printing. But if not, I've mentioned many times before how to read that barcode to know what a second print is. It's that last number down here. I mean, this does say second print, but this last little number here will tell you that it's a second print. So this is issue 381, first cover for the second print. So this is the only cover for the second printing. But anyway, moving on from that, what are the prices on this book? Well, none have sold recently on this particular second print variant, but the asking prices for this, you can see they're not cheap. $30, $50, $60 asking for all of these. So if you find one, you might have found yourself a few little extra dollars to put in your own pocket if you want to go and do that, hunting and flipping, which, again, no fault. I do it occasionally, so it's part of the hobby. Nothing wrong with that. The next issue as well had a second print. This is issue 382 with Sentry. So we had Sentry and doing with the Void and all that stuff. Again, second printing. It says it right there down below on the cover. Issue 382. This was not as expensive as the last one. Copies have sold in that like $15 to $17 kind of range. And asking prices on this one are more 18, 25, 35. So still not cheap, but not as expensive as the last, going up to 60. So this one's more topping out at about 35. But still, pretty cool cover. I like it when there's different art on these second printings personally. That's what catches my eye. Unlike our next one is issue 383, the next issue in the run. This, unfortunately, is just a reused cover A. They just did it again. I think it might be a little more whitewash. I don't even know if there's much of a color difference here on this one, but this second printing, which it does say second printing near the barcode on 383, this one isn't much different. And again, this is that Donny Cates run that I was talking about with, that's Loki, with Loki as the Sorcerer Supreme. But no copies have sold on this one either recently. And this one, again, with the reused cover art, is a bit cheaper. 10 to 15 bucks, really. Still, definitely more than cover. And if you can find this for cover, dollar bin digging, discount, half cover type boxes, some of that overstock stuff, which a lot of these later printings, second printings get stashed away in because shops will order second prints usually. And if they don't sell, they're generally not saved. They're generally just thrown aside. Like, all right, it's a later print. There's probably gonna be another one, so we're just gonna chuck this in a box and throw this in the discount bin and just get rid of it because whoever wanted it already bought it, and we're not gonna leave this on the shelf or make room for this because most of these, they don't get pricey right away. They get pricey over time as people have a hard time finding them. And our last one, just sticking with these second printings and Doctor Strange, is the next issue in the run, 384. I think this was like the first Void symbiote or something like that. But this one is a little bit more pricey. Again, new cover art on this, which is good. Interesting cover. I kind of like it. This one could sell for like 25 to 35 bucks, or has at least recently in the last couple of months. And the asking prices on this can go from like 25 to as high as $90. So, not saying this is the $90 book, not saying anybody spend $90 for this book. I'm just saying that's what the market asking price is right now. So if you do find this in a shop, you know what the market is. It's selling for 25 to 35, asking 25 to 90. That's the kind of decisions you got to make for yourself, depending on how your shop has this price. I'm not saying all these books are going to be discount books or in dollar bins or half price cover or even cover price. This could be in a box marked up. This could be in a box marked for $10, $15. Do you want to buy it for $10 to $15? This is the market. These are the prices. You make that call if you want to spend that kind of money on it. Not to say 10 to 15 is a lot, but a 10 to 15 is not nothing. So I'm just giving you the information for you to make a call for yourself. And these are just interesting books that I just want you to be aware of in case you can luck into them for cheaper than what they go for out there on the aftermarket. All right, that's it for my later printings. We're going to move on to our next segment here, and we got some video game books for you. Guys, watch the channel by now. You know I like video games, and you know I like video game comics. So I'm going to cover a couple more here. Just in case you're not aware. And again, I know a lot of you probably already know a lot of this stuff. A lot of your old vets, you know about a lot of these books, but there are some people who are newer to the hobby that I also want to help out as well. So I'm going to tell them about some of these books that they might not be aware of. So hopefully I still got something for you old veterans as well. But for the newer collectors, if you're looking for Halo, you watch the Paramount Plus Halo show, you want to find the first Halo comic, well, this graphic novel preview really is the first Halo, first appearance of Master Chief, I guess, in comic book form, even though it's a graphic novel. It's a little, sort of like a mini trade, a little preview that came out back in what year was that? I can't even remember off the top of my head. But anyway, this thing's not cheap. This little preview thing you can see there is a 9.6 that's over $63, $20, $30. Yeah, it's not like a super duper expensive book, but it's also just not dollar bin fodder either. So keep this in mind. This is the preview book, and then there is, I think, a regular printing of this as well. But for the preview, this was technically the first, so that's why I'm covering it here. There's one that's up at auction starting at $15. There's a $60 buy it now. A 9.8's asking for a healthy $330 plus request. So keep that in mind as well. That would be the first. If you're looking for Master Chief, this would be the first, I believe, in comics. But a cheaper option for you, if you just want to get yourself some Master Chief comic books, would be the Halo Uprising. I think it's, yes, Halo Uprising, the limited series from Marvel, 4 issues. They printed a decent amount of these, so there are also multiple covers. There's some variants out there as well. I'm just going to show you basically the A's because you can probably find these in dollar bins and some cheap boxes. So if you just want to get them just for that reason alone, this is issue 1. Pretty cool. This is Bendis and Maleev working on this title together. And you got issue 2, issue 3, issue 4. Cool stuff. If you're into Halo, this is some good artwork. This is some decent story as well. And you can usually find these ones really cheap. I mean, look, $1.25, $7 for issue 1, and a random issue could be $2. This is, like I said, this is dollar bin type stuff. So you generally find this run Uprising for very cheap. Even online, if you want to buy it out right now, $5 individual issues. A 9.8 might be $130. That's what they're asking, and you can get a whole run possibly for like $25. Not super duper expensive, but again, if you do some hunting, have a little bit of patience, you might be able to get this whole set for under $5 if you go digging in the right boxes. That's it. So there's Halo. I don't want to just leave you with Halo. I'm going to give you another video game comic, and this is one I don't think a lot of people remember the game, let alone the fact that there's a comic book associated with the game, and that comic book actually does pretty well. And the game I'm talking about here is Dead Space. Kind of a classic kind of horror, a little sci-fi horror type deal. Pretty cool game. It's a very moody. It kind of gets under your skin a little bit in that Silent Hill kind of way, as this just monstrous things are happening on this sci-fi space station. So pretty cool game. 6 issues miniseries out of Image. These books do all right, and you can even just tell from this cover art, it's very, some graphic stuff here. There's going to be a little bit of some graphic sci-fi body horror type things, but there's collectors for this. So keep this in mind in case you stumble across this in a box for cheap, that you might make a few bucks. Selling prices. Yes, one did sell for as cheap as $4. Yeah, that's a pretty cheap buy considering the entire run. 6 issue set sold for $110, and then random issue 1 sold a month before for $40. So yes, somebody got one at auction for cheap. Once again, you can shop at auction for some of these weird books because you might get them for super duper cheap, like that person did. One bid $4. But if you are a seller, don't list these oddball books that nobody's looking for at auction, because you're just not going to get the viewers. You're not going to get the bidders. There was nobody the battle for that $4. Only one person was looking at that time, and they lucked into it. Just be patient. Do the buy it now, but accept best offers, and you'll definitely do better in the long run. That's all I'm saying. If you are going to be on the seller side. At the buyer side, absolutely look at those auctions, find those cheap ones, throw a bid down. Don't just watch it and say, well, I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'd pay $4 for that. Just throw that $4 bid down. Maybe nobody else jumps in and you get it for that. So just keep that in mind as well. And asking prices for this book, $40 for issue 1. Look, there's a fine copy of issue 6 asking $100. Some of these can be tough to find out there. So if you do find them in a shop, you might find yourself a nice little score. And then you can see that's an incomplete run down at the bottom there. That's only issue 1 through 4 and some sort of one shot, I think, thrown in for $100 for 5 issues. So That's like $20 an issue. You can find these things out there if you know what you're looking for. A lot of other people might not know what they're looking at, but hopefully after seeing this, you now know what Dead Space is, and be aware of it, because you might be able to grab yourself, a few bucks if you want to go ahead and sell it. All right, so that's what we got there for our video game section. I got one more segment, and we're going to wrap it up for this week, and we're going to go over to oddities. I was talking to my buddy at work, and it came up with this one book based off of a band, and it got me down a rabbit hole, so I got a couple for you. But the first book we want to talk about here is, I was talking to my buddy about this Slipknot book. So, Slipknot comics. I believe the lead singer also writes other stuff. I think he's going to be like a Monster Mania, or was at Monster Mania near here recently, because that's how this came up, talking about signature opportunities. Again, I'm not a signature guy, but a friend of mine, he is. He loves getting these things and getting that CGC witness so he can get these things graded. But Slipknot comic, I wouldn't have known much about this. But when he was telling me about it and I was looking at it, I was like, these things do all right. So if you could find some of these oddball things, look, 34 bids back in June, got up to $57 for this comic. $57 ain't too bad for a Slipknot book. I wouldn't have thought that'd be a $50 comic, but apparently it is. And there's one out there right now, $250. Granted, this one is signed by Corey Taylor. That's not slabbed. It's in a plastic like case, but it's not like a CGC slab. So don't get this, don't get fooled by that picture. If you go into it deeper, it's just like a plastic case, and it's a signed copy. So that kind of plays with the price a little bit, but still $250, and that's the only one I could find out there. So Slipknot. If you find this Slipknot comic, maybe consider if it's cheap enough, because you might make a few bucks. Then it got me thinking of some other bands, like kind of in that realm. And I was like, Gore. What about Gore? I think Guar's first book was back in '92 in this Deadline USA magazine. Not on the cover, but inside. And this one's not too expensive, actually, considering it has Guar in there, and it might be their first. Look, a copy sold for best offer on $2, like less than $2 for this issue. Raw. Granted, it's only very good, that sale, so it's not going to be the cleanest copy, but you take what you can get with some of this stuff. Available copies on this one, it's only like a $10 book. So you're thinking, oh, who cares about Guar? Well, that's because I don't know if everybody knows that there is something inside with Gore on that book. They're not on the cover, but if you do go and get something with them on the cover, I think this is the first one that had them on the cover, 1994. This Gore book, the Skullhead face, this one does all right. This one sells for about $43 to $145. You can see those sales over the last couple of months. And then asking prices, well, there are none because there's none out there. So the copies that did sell sold for $45 and $145. And there's none out there. So these are one of those oddball things, those tough things to find, but who knows what you might find in like a oddball indie box out there. So just be aware of some of these like heavy metal type bands, comic books, because there are collectors. It goes beyond comics, because then fans of the bands will also be interested in some of this stuff. So that's where you get a little, get some extra eyes on some of these products, because while it might not be for everybody, it may not even be for you, but there's probably a collector or two, or 5 or 100 for some of these things. And then we got another one, one more Guar book that I want to talk about. The next year, 1995, we do have this Slave Pit Funnies featuring Guar. I think they're in like 3 or 4 issues of this run, but this first one does okay as well. This book you can see here has sold for about $48, $50. Like that's the the recent sales in that $50 range. And yes, asking prices are $25, $50 out there on the market. So once again, if you find it for cheap enough, you might have found yourself a nice little treasure. I think I got 1 or 2 more bands for you. Let's take a look at Slayer. Yeah, I think there's a couple of Slayer books out there. I think they have like a mini series also just called Slayer that came out of Image. I think it was Image. It might be another publisher, but I think it was like a 4 to 6 issue mini. But this biography book, this is like the biography of Slayer in this comic book. So I guess it tells kind of like the history of the band. This one is the one I'm going to cover here. And this one, again, $37. That middle thing that's only $5. That's actually the back, I think, of this cover. So just keep that in mind. And then another one like under $30. So yeah, $30, $40. It could hit, or it could be as cheap as $5. It depends. That one was also at auction. So auction, sometimes you're gonna get a deal, you're gonna get a steal. But some of these buy it nows are still at a solid price. And the only one that's out there right now I could find is asking $30. So that's kind of the market and the range on this one, if you find it. And then I got one more for fun, and one that it's probably an obvious one. It's like, well, why didn't they make these comics sooner? Like you thought they would have made these, but Iron Maiden, Legacy of the Beast, Heavy Metal Comics, these ones in particular came out in 2017. Multiple covers on some of these, some variants. There are some tougher to find versions of some of these books as well, but just the regular books themselves aren't too bad if you can track them down. I think it was a one of five issue run. You can see there the whole run could get $80. It looks like a couple of an incomplete lot's $20. Individual issues could be cheap; they could hit like $5. So it's kind of all over the place. But if you can collect a set, it looks like you can do better in moving a whole set because then you've done all the legwork for somebody else. And then the asking prices here again looks like there's a set up there for $30, $12, $10. There's also another volume, another series, so it could be a different run than this Legacy of the Beast, but just some fun comics out there. So I know there's more bands. There's Kiss, there's Danzig. We also know about that stuff. But this is just a little bit that I wanted to cover today. Just got me rolling. Went down a little bit of a rabbit hole when I was talking to my buddy again about that Slipknot book. So this is what I got for you. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and hopefully you're still enjoying everything here on the channel. Thanks for stopping by and checking this out. I appreciate you all. Like I said, please like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Let's keep growing the channel. We are getting so close to 2K. Let's just keep it moving. Let's keep the positive momentum flowing. And make sure you come back tomorrow to see if you won that giveaway on Chasing Ghosts, because I'll run the wheel for that show tomorrow. And with that, I'll see you guys later with some more content. All right.